let us bring him on, the host of Redacted Tonight and a bunch of other podcasts. And he works for Russia, so I guess he's about to invade the Ukraine. Lee Camp.
I like I say works for Russia, like I'm like a waiter at like a Russian restaurant in Moscow.
Yes, that's how I see it.
Works for Russia.
Just works for the whole country of Russia. You just work for all of them. You just wait tables for Russia.
Yes, I have a TV show called Redacted Tonight.
Your internet was
on RT America. I just closed everything, so hopefully it's better now.
Okay, there we go. That's better. Yes.
I believe what you were referring to is my TV show on RT America, but
no.
Wouldn't it be great if every time someone was on BBC, they were like, "So you're a British agent? Is that correct? You play Doctor Who. You're a British agent, right?"
Yeah, we should just start doing that to anyone from BBC. British agent. This person works for state-sponsored BBC.
Yeah.
I saw when Chris Hedges, I think, was on MSNBC to promote his book, and they said he has a show on Russia on Contact that's on Russia sponsored, and I was like, oh, I wish I had him in an earpiece because I would have said, Chris, say this. Thank you for having me on MSNBC. Yeah, which is sponsored by Raytheon and Boeing and Pfizer.
Thank you for having me on Raytheon sponsored MSNBC. Yeah.
just that's I would love I hope I'm on one of those shows and they reference the fact that I've been on RT a bunch. I just hope that they do, just so I can do that just once and then have it on video.
But in the lead up, you mentioned about what doesn't get suppressed on YouTube, and I was just thinking about this today or yesterday. It's like my show, basically for being anti-corporate, anti-capitalist, is suppressed within an inch of our lives. I mean, we get like 1% of the views we used to get. Meanwhile, there's other shows, one of which the show remain nameless asked me to be on recently, so I went and took a look, and it's like the videos are like, this guy claims he likes to have sex with other men. Gross. And it's like 10,000 million views. And it's like, they allow this man who dresses up like a woman to hold city office. It's like 100,000 views.
100,000.
It's like borderline hate speech against trans people. And it's like not suppressed at all. YouTube's like, love it.
Love it. Just neo-Nazis. Love it. You got thumbs up. You know what I mean? Just spewing actual misinformation, like stuff that can be proven. Video showing how some show is doing it incorrectly, and they're big numbers.
Yeah.
So
yeah, they're fucking going like gangbusters.
Gangbusters.
Millions of views, making great money while they throw hate speech at trans people, or just like, I don't know, tell people they should go out and like murder politicians, and it's like,
yeah,
it's fine, it's all fine.
Or don't get the vaccine, or whatever it is. And and yet I'm sitting here like, oh fuck, Ethereum's price is going down. So I'm this is how I have to make most of my money now, is Rockfin, which I very much appreciate. But they pay us in their Ray token, which is a cryptocurrency, but then I have to convert that to Ethereum, and then I have to cash that out every month. So I have to watch the markets every month. And I'm sitting here going, do I cash my Ethereum out now when it's kind of low, but the Federal Reserve is about to release the minutes from their whatever evil cabal speech that they give once a year on how they're fucking everyone over. Is that going to make the price go down further? Should I cash out now, or is it going to bounce back? I'm just like, I don't know. This is how I'm doing it, but I was getting paid on a regular basis and helping YouTube generate money, and YouTube is still playing ads on my videos. But anyway, I'm glad fucking soulless shitheads are making money.
I love that factor too, where they're like, we're going to demonetize you. We're not going to let you collect any more money from this, but we're going to keep putting ads on this content that we claim is reprehensible and false. We're going to keep putting advertisers on that because, you know, we want to cash in on this material that we say is completely wrong and horrible.
Yes. Yes. Unreal. And I used to say, hey, watch the ads all the way through. If you click skip ad, I don't get paid. And now it's like, skip the ads immediately. Do not let anybody make money.
Draw a dildo on your laptop screen.
Draw a dildo on and send a dildo to Google's headquarters.
You mean like off a corpse? Like full on real live penis?
I don't encourage that, but an actual.
Well, we found Graham's line. We found where he draws the line.
Yeah, that's don't mess with cadavers, folks. Let's just leave that alone. That is where I cross the line. Well, folks, hold on. I'm having an earpiece situation. God damn it. There we go. Folks, you're watching and listening to Government Secrets, episode 70. We did it, Lee. We made it to 70. It's really cool. We're halfway to 140.
It's pretty exciting.
You show no excitement at all. I don't think you care about this. Do you even celebrate your own birthday, or you're just like, what, another one of these?
Sorry, I'm trying to get the This Week in Government Secrets up here, and so I didn't have enough like emotional bandwidth to do that and celebrate episode number 70. So I had to pick one or the other, and I'm sorry.
I really hope you were actually just watching like tennis highlights on a screen and you're just like nodding and going, oh, great, Graham, whatever this idiot's talking about. And then just like watching the Australian Open.
Listen, what the entertainment value out of Nick Kyrgios is tremendous. So.
All right. So what is this week in Government Secrets? Lee Cap.
All right. Well, today, many years ago, today in 1787 was Shays' Rebellion. Shays' Rebellion, which, well, it concluded on today, 1787, but was the armed uprising in Western Massachusetts and Worcester in response to a debt crisis. So isn't it good to know that like kind of the poor and the middle class have been crushed by the debt, inflicted upon them by the rich really since the beginning of this country. And in various times, people stand up with guns and get angry about it.
Gee, unless they're distracted by, let's say, well, I don't know, a concocted invasion of Ukraine. I don't know. Maybe there's that. I'm just picking random stuff off the top of my head. Like,
yeah, when a president has an approval rating of what is it, -2%? I think you pretty much need a war with Ukraine, or war with Russia.
Yeah, this will be good. It's I like,
because what's good for approval rating is nuclear oblivion.
Yeah, it does actually get your approval ratings up when there's just atomic winter, and everyone, the few remaining survivors are living in a hellscape while everybody else was turned to dust.
Because see, if Biden can bring about nuclear winter, then people will be like fucking thrilled if he sends out like a can of Spam to every family. And that's all it'll take for him to get like 100% approval rating. He just has to have like higher minimum Spam. And that's a lot easier to do than to actually repair the infrastructure of the United States. So I think he's trying to bring the level down to an area where he feels comfortable that he could get a higher approval rating by just sending out Spam. Yeah,
it's good. It's good Spam. I mean, it's like, it's really helping out. I mean, we're toying with like World War III. because his approval rating is down.
Well, and I wasn't going to get into this on this episode, but since you brought it up, our economy is now based on endless war, and a large percentage of it, I mean, 55%, 60% of our discretionary spending is all military. So in order to keep the money cycling through the U.S. economy, you have to have endless war. And the level of like endless war where we just drop a few bombs here and there and sell a few weapons to Saudi Arabia so they can destroy Yemen, that's not really enough. So they kind of have to keep creating large scale power dynamic, fucking battles, even if they're cold, even if it doesn't come to actually exchanging missiles. They just need to sell these systems, so they have to keep inventing this shit. Like, endless war has to continue, or our economy would tank even worse than it already is. And so it's like, and not to mention, of course, they're the weapons contractors and everyone else and big oil, et cetera, are the ones that put these politicians into office in the first place. So they're calling the shots. So if Lockheed Martin says you're not really doing good by us, then you're not going to stay in office long. So there's a lot of reasons that, that they have to keep endless war.
Yeah, it's good for business. Thank God the Democrats in Congress approved $768 billion that then the democratically controlled Senate gave an extra $10 billion to. So Biden has $778 billion to fight all of these ridiculous wars while the American people starve to death. I think it's great. And I think it's why I'm proud to be an American, Lee, where at least I know I'm free.
Did you come up with those words yourself? Those are great. You should write those into a song or something.
I think I might. Maybe it's time to start writing a song. I don't know.
So, as you were saying, Shays Rebellion. It was among the citizenry in opposition to the state government's increased efforts to collect taxes, both on individuals and their trades. But it was beyond just collecting taxes. They basically had crushed. This is fairly soon after the Revolutionary War. They had crushed the ability of your average person to make a living, really, at all. So if you get deeper into it, yet again, big surprise, it has to do with the very wealthy, the oligarchs, sucking as much money as they possibly can out of average people. And eventually it gets to a point that those people get furious. And so Daniel Shays, who was a Revolutionary War veteran and a farmer, him and 4,000 rebels stood up in protest against economic and civil rights injustices. Let's see here. They marched on the federal Springfield Armory in an unsuccessful attempt to seize the weaponry and overthrow the government. So yeah, and then that failed uprising had an influence on the Constitution and the federal government wanting to make sure that they could stop this from happening again. But I think the larger picture that's still applicable today is basically these people couldn't make a living. They couldn't survive under the massive debt that they were being put under. They basically spend all day, every day trying to pay off their debtors. And it's similar to what we do to Latin America. Confessions of an Economic Hitman is a great book about that. So this tactic of indebting people to death is nothing new. It's all part of capitalism.
It's American as apple pie, Lee, and you should be proud of it. You know what I mean? Just keeping people in debt, everybody, and people watching the show who working 2 and 3 jobs. You know what I mean? That's America. Working hard, pulling yourself by your own bootstraps while the wealthy just drink your tears.
I mean, they've only doubled their wealth during this pandemic. So
look, 100 new billionaires during a global pandemic, I think is good for the world. I think it's good for America. It's good to see that, the several $1 trillion that they've doubled their wealth with could just pay off all student loan debt or whatever. I think it's fantastic. I mean,
Oh
it's
yeah,
really
give everybody health care, give everybody clean water in a country where 2,000 cities have elevated lead levels. There's a lot of things they could do. A lot of things we could do with that money.
something to be proud about. You know what I mean? But Nancy Pelosi just said the Democratic Party stands with working Americans or whatever she just said in one of her dumb speeches. She just sounds like she's always drunk
She
on
said,
wine.
she said
and
like
ice
the
cream.
Democratic Party has delivered to Americans as we promised. And you're like, what the fuck?
What
No,
are you
you know-
fucking
you
talking
know-
about?
You know what's great about that clip is both right and left, Democrats and Republicans across this country can come together to say, what the fuck are you talking about?
What are you? Yeah, I know. It's just people from diametrically opposed are like, what in the world are you talking about? Just like we've come, just like what you mean when the Supreme Court lifted the eviction moratorium? Is that when you guys came to help all Americans? Like, God, it's unbelievable how out of touch they are. It's unbelievable. Well, somebody wrote, Graham's Nancy Pelosi makes me laugh every damn time. Well, I'm glad that the citizens of the chat of this fine show are welcome to the joys of the Democratic Party.
Seems like a cross between Nancy Pelosi and Ethel Merman, I think. But.
It is. It has a little merman. It has a little, what's her name? The other one. There was Merman, and then there was the Carol Channing. It has a little Carol Channing in there. A little Carol Channing. Yeah.
And maybe the Joker.
That's right, Batman. Your crazy plans, you can't even save your own city. But the Democratic Party.
That's the Joker if he got elderly. That's the Joker if he made it to like 102. And he was like, Batman, if I could just find my underwear. This is anarchy, but I like it. I like anarchy. So the fact that I just shit on my own hand is chaos. I love it. This is wonderful.
Batman, as I stand here in front of 2 ice cream fridges just to show you how crazy I am, I just want you to know that the citizens of Gotham don't care. They like chaos. Like, that's the Joker. If the Joker and Carol Channing had a baby, it would be Nancy Pelosi.
If the Joker and Carol Channing had a 102-year-old baby that ran the Democratic Party
and was worth $100 million, it would be Nancy Pelosi.
I love that. Have you ever gone back and looked at like a clip of her when she first joined Congress in like the 90s? And she was viewed as like the scary left wing, where they were like, oh, this crazy San Francisco lady is gonna upend everything.
It shows you several things. How, like, the rest of the country views San Francisco and California. They still think it's like Haight-Ashbury in the 60s when it's not that at all.
No,
it has been completely hijacked by
I've been there probably 5-6 times. It's hard to even find someone masturbating on the street. It's changed a lot.
There's like all Silicon Valley has ruined San Francisco. The soul of San Francisco is gone. It's all like tech billionaires and then people barely getting by. I mean, it's just like the tech people have ruined San Francisco.
It's gotten so insane. There's not a lot of them, but I know they've been testing them out. There are robots, like robot cops, that roll around and tell homeless people to move along.
Yeah.
It looks like a trash can on wheels, and it comes and just tells homeless people to fucking keep moving along.
But in Nancy Pelosi's voice.
Also, these estates or whatever you want to call them, where like Zuckerberg lives, and these people like outside San Francisco, usually outside San Francisco, there are homeless people and poor people that like live just on the outskirts, just living off of what's dumped out of these mansions. And it's not just Zuckerberg, it's all of those incredibly rich tech people you've never heard of. They just go into their dumpsters, and like the shit they throw out can sustain multiple families.
And that's how the Democratic Party takes care of all Americans. We let you eat our garbage. Like
We're trying to pass the bill. We let you eat our garbage bill. And if we just get it through, if Manchin would just sign on,
Yeah.
we're pretty sure that we could send some garbage to every American.
That literally is the difference between the two parties. The Republicans wouldn't let you eat out of their garbage cans, but the Democrats will. That's the two-party system. That's how much better the Democrats are. We're going to have a party behind you.
The Republicans would put a Ring camera on their garbage can and have you arrested or something. Whereas the Democrats would be like, you can have all of my garbage you want.
You can eat my garbage. Like, that's because we care.
Yeah.
We just had a party for one of my spoiled rat fuck kids in our mansion with rooms we don't go into, and you can eat the leftovers. That's why we care.
It shows we care. It shows we care.
All right, should we get into our first government segment? Well, number 1 on episode 70, which is monumental, except for Lee Camp, who doesn't care.
This is an exciting day for 50% of the hosts of Government Secrets.
Figure out which host gives a shit and which one doesn't. Who wants to watch tennis? Figure out which. All right. We're gonna do mine, I guess.
Go for it. I've noticed
right.
I can't tell. I'm hoping it's the lighting, but literally, you look like you've just been to a tanning bed, and I look like I've just come out of like Dracula's coffin. Like,
I don't. Well, Lee,
or maybe the blood has been drained out of me.
I think that's probably more feasible than the fact that you live where it's cold and I live where it's warm and I'm a surfer. I'm sure it's the blood draining thing. I'm sure it's some sort of zombie sarcophagus.
Cold is only in your mind, Graham.
Yeah, Lee, just figure it out. Just be out. Just walk outside barefoot, even though it's 6 degrees.
I just fucking out hippied you. All right.
You just hippied me. Well, that's where I'm always. That's where I deviate from the hippies when they just say dumb bullshit like that, like manifest or it's cold as in your mind. I'm like, oh, okay. So I guess that's what hypothermia is. You dipshit idiots. It's the same. Chakra crystals can cure everything. Like, come on, no fucko. So I want to talk about stationary low power reactor number 1, also known as SL1, or the air-gone low power reactor, because it was a United States Army experimental nuclear reactor located at the National Reactor Testing Station, NRTS.
That is my favorite experimental reactor. So I'm glad we're talking about this.
It's everyone's favorite. It's like usually in the final 4 of reactors every year.
Absolutely.
So at 9:01 p.m. on the night of January 3rd, 1961, SL1 underwent a steam explosion and meltdown, killing 3 operators. Did you know that? I did not until today.
Not know that.
I learned about this.
I was under the impression nuclear reactor meltdowns were only a thing that happened in Russia.
It's weird. I guess HBO just hasn't gotten around yet to doing a documentary about this because they were so busy doing it in Chernobyl, making the bad guy in every movie Russians again, so that Americans will just fall hook, line, and sinker for this bullshit that's happening in the Ukraine. Because 3 people died. Three service members died. And I found out about this literally right after you texted me, hey, Graham, what are you covering today?
And then I Googled things people don't know. And this came up.
And I literally, here's what I typed into my search engine. U.S. Navy cover-ups. And then I got some new, and then the first thing that came on my page was like,
I typed in things people don't know, and this came up right after. If you put a tennis ball in your car antenna, you can find it easier. And I was thinking of going with that one, but then I went with this one.
The first thing that did pop up is like U.S. Navy covers, like jackets, and that's what. I'm not
like
joking.
literally like a cover up.
Like a cover up.
That's
I was like,
amazing. Dude,
wow.
if the US military doesn't sell like hot cover-ups, like warm cover-ups you buy for the winter, they really should.
Well, they do. And I think they did it just to thwart searches like this that I did today. I literally think they
Dude,
went,
is that how easily Americans are led astray? They type
yes,
in
yes,
US military cover-up and they're like, footy pajamas.
that's all you got to do for an American. Just like US Navy hoodie. Oh, that looks fun. I'll wear that to the Army Navy game.
I
Like,
was hoping to find out how they murdered JFK, but this'll do.
is my water contaminated? Who cares? Because I've got mittens that say US Navy. Like, it's just, I've got a Go Navy cuddly rug that I watch Netflix and chill on. That's literally, I was like, wow, this, because I was like, oh, I'll just start shopping. This is how easy it is to distract Americans. This is how easy it is to distract Americans. Like, if they, yeah, they're like mad that they're hungry, they'll just get a coupon code sent in an email for something, and they'll be like, oh, okay, well, my first $20 at Grubhub is free, so there we go. That makes it better. Nancy Pelosi helped pass this legislation. So I typed in that first, and then I saw
the search engine offers a coupon to something to just lead people astray. 20% off IHOP Grand Slam breakfast. That's
20% off false flags. I'll buy that. Flags are fun. So
it's literally a flag that just like falls apart in the first 3 minutes. That's all it is.
It waves really bright and then just blows away. What? What is that?
I paid $40 for this false flag. It doesn't do shit.
First sign of rain, it's paper and it just disintegrates. What the fuck?
Why has it got 38 stars on it? That's a false flag. This isn't a real flag at all.
Oh, but it came with this Go Navy slippers, so it's actually it's not that. It's a good deal. The other thing I came across was the Gulfaton kin, which is something we should cover on the show. I don't think we have, because that's a good.
I've definitely, yeah. I'll have to look back in the books. I've definitely talked about it, but I don't know that we did a full segment on it. But
no,
yeah.
we haven't like gone deep on it, which we should. So then underneath, and I saw this like chat group, and then someone went, yeah, the biggest cover up is the SL1. And I was like, ooh, what's this? So here's what happened. The direct cause was the improper withdrawal of the central control rod responsible for absorbing neutrons in the reactor's core. The event is the only reactor accident in U.S. history to have resulted in immediate fatalities. Gee, I wonder why we never talk about it.
Well, also, I think probably one of the biggest reasons is, even though it's clearly no Chernobyl, it's like we want to just pretend that Russia has a monopoly on disastrous meltdowns.
Oh, and it's just, oh, that old Soviet, if they had free market capitalism, this wouldn't happen. Like it's that narrative too. Like big business is going to make it better. Big business will do it the right way. Big business doesn't care if it kills anybody.
Yeah. Whereas what really caused the meltdown in Chernobyl was fucking caving to authority figures, which goes on in corporate America all the time.
All the time. It's just like, they're totalitarian. They didn't want to get into trouble. Oh, yeah. No one's ever caved to authority figures in America. That's never happened once.
Never at the Pentagon does someone decide they're not going to stand up for something because it would mean their job.
Yeah, name one time that's happened at the Pentagon late camp. Name one. So the accident released about 80 curies of iodine 131. I'm sure that's good. I'm sure it's just like fruit flavoring in a drink. I'm sure it's fine.
Oh, yeah. Totally. It just makes your cereal glow in the dark.
But it's got vitamins and minerals. It's good for you.
It's
part of a balanced breakfast. Which was not considered significant due to its location in the remote high desert of eastern Idaho.
And I saw that part of the description, and I was like, yeah, I'm sure there's nothing important ecologically, environmentally, maybe in the air that continues to move on after it's settled down in that area. There could be nothing important there.
No. I mean, look, it's not like the ecosystem is this like delicate intertwined connection of everything where if you mess with one part of it, it could literally go downstream and contaminate something. It's not like that at all. It's always separate. It's great.
So, sometimes literally downstream, like now we find that fish are full of antidepressants that are pumped into our water supply. So sometimes literally downstream.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's good stuff. Which I think fish have probably been suffering from depression for too long. So it's probably good.
It's probably a good thing considering the overfishing. Maybe this will help them get by. Yeah.
Skip by losing all of their friends.
Yeah.
About 1,100 curies of fission products were released into the atmosphere. This is Wikipedia. We've talked about Wikipedia before. We don't think Wikipedia is this like source of 100% truth, but we always say if Wikipedia is saying this,
yeah, if even Wikipedia is saying it, yeah.
But again, Wikipedia just says, "Oh, these fission products were released into the atmosphere." Next paragraph.
End of topic.
End of topic. That's it. That's the facility housing SL1, located approximately 40 miles west of Idaho Falls. You're fine, Idaho Falls. Don't worry about it. Was part of the Army nuclear power program. The reactor was intended to provide electrical power and heat for small remote military facilities such as radar sites near the Arctic Circle and those in the Dew Line. The design power. Now this is, oh God. All right. So I want to get into what specifically happened. Let's see.
Please tell me, was that one of the workers dropped his Egg McMuffin into like a entry tube, a feed tube into a reactor? It was just like a pickle slice.
Zoinks! Oh no! Pickles, like, guys, don't drop pickles into the reactor or special sauce. It'll mess it up because special sauce actually has radioactive material in it. So
ever since then, there's been signs above all the reactors around America say no special sauce in this tube. I don't know why we don't just put a cap on the tube. That would make a lot more sense. No, we're just gonna put the sign here. It says no pickles, no special sauce.
Well, you can't get a Big Mac with special sauce on it near any of these reactors. That's like the deal they made with McDonald's. So they just made a new sauce called reactor sauce, and that can go in. So it's fun. It's a unique thing, and people go search it out, just like Mexican Coke. You know, it's fun. It's a fun thing. So, all right, let me go down. On January 3rd, 1961, SL1 was being prepared for restart after a shutdown of 11 days over the holidays. Maintenance procedures required that Rod 9 be manually withdrawn a few inches to reconnect it to its drive mechanism. At 9:01 p.m., the rod was suddenly withdrawn too far, causing SL1 to go prompt critical instantly in 4 milliseconds.
Hold on. You think either there'd be something that would stop you from withdrawing the rod too far, like that it wouldn't be possible to even do that, or you would think that if that happened, there'd be some sort of auto shutdown mechanism rather than just like all shit breaks loose.
You read this and it just sounds like 6-year-olds playing with bottle rockets. Like, it just sounds like, what are you doing? I remember as a kid, we would shoot those rockets into the sky and then they would, like, a parachute would come down. Like, my brother was really into that. So we started cracking open the powder.
Oh yeah, immediately.
And lighting it, and just whoop, you'd have this huge flash powder. Yeah. And we'd set shit on fire.
For those listening at home, to this day, Graham has no eyebrows.
These are fake. These are like toupee eyebrows, basically. I tape them on every show.
Those are actually just caterpillars he glues to his face before we start every day.
And I sedate them so they don't. I'm not going to kill them. I'm not a monster, but I do have live caterpillars sedated and taped to my face. Like, when I tell those stories, you go, God, kids, you know, and we were unsupervised, you know, Gen Xers weren't supervised in the 70s. So we just blew shit up. Well, so was the military is unsupervised. Like,
yeah, absolutely. You look at the nuclear testing. We covered the nuclear testing on the Bahamas.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, not the Bahamas, the Marshall Islands. And it's insane.
It's insane. This is what was happening in Idaho. So that blew up in 4 milliseconds. The heat generated by the resulting enormous power excursion caused fuel inside the core to melt and explosively vaporize. The expanding fuel produced an extreme pressure wave that blasted water upward, striking the top of the reactor vessel with a peak pressure of 10,000 pounds per square inch.
That sounds like a lot.
It is.
I'm gonna say a lot. That sounds like
a little. You know, Lee, when you were a kid playing with a hose in your backyard, and then like, you know, your brother would kink it and then open it up and spray you really fast. It was kind of like that, but times a million.
It's kind of like that, except your head would land in Virginia.
Yeah, your head would explode and no one would be able to identify your body. Stuff like that.
Got it. Yeah.
The slug of water was propelled about 159 feet per second.
Jesus. Jesus.
The spray of water and steam knocked 2 operators onto the floor, killing one and severely injuring another. The number 7 shield plug from the top of the reactor vessel impaled the third man through his groin and exited his shoulder, pinning him to the ceiling. So it went like vroom, punk, and then pinned him to the ceiling through his groin. I know.
That's the worst death I've ever heard of.
Dick injuries always it always hurts us to hear. It's just this guy. Anybody, but especially
to the ceiling.
Yeah.
That's in Jesus.
So thank you for your service.
I'm going to put that down as a bad day at work. Like, do you feel like when he got home to his wife that day, she was still like, why did you take out the garbage? And he's like, honey, the day I've had.
I was pinned to a ceiling.
By my balls.
My balls are gone. Yeah, he didn't make it. So the victims were Army Specialist Richard Leroy McKinley, age 27.
Do you think they left him up there as a warning to the others? Hey, guys, remember, never pull the rod out too far. Look up. I want you all to look up. That's what happened to Charlie.
Yep. See that guy? Had his nuts stapled to the ceiling. All right. You don't want.
Oh, God.
It was later established by author Todd Tucker that Burns, the reactor operator, had lifted the rod and caused the excursion. Legg, the shift supervisor, was standing on top of the reactor vessel and was impaled and pinned to the ceiling. And McKinley, the trainee, stood nearby. Oh, way to go, trainee. Thanks, rookie. Only McKinley, the trainee, was found alive.
I love that it was the supervisor who was shot through the body and pinned to the ceiling.
Yeah, it said the Board of Investigation, and consistent with the results of the autopsy, suggested that Burns and Legg died instantly, while McKinney showed signs of diffuse bleeding within his scalp, indicating he survived approximately 2 hours before succumbing to his wounds. So he did survive it, but then he ended up dying. So that's why there was 3.
I'm going to go ahead and say I feel like the guy who got shot through the ceiling probably is happy he died instantly.
Yes.
If that were me, I'd be happy I died instantly.
Yeah, if it's like you get a choice, you lose your balls and survive or die, just kill me. Take me out. I'm done. No point.
It wasn't just the balls. It went through his whole body.
It went through his whole body. Just like, you're done. So yeah, and then so that was early press reports indicated the explosion may have been due to a chemical reaction, but that was ruled out shortly afterward. Fast neutron activation had occurred in various materials in the room, indicating a nuclear power excursion, unlike a reactor that is operating properly.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, is every time one of these fucking disasters happens, they go, oh, well, that's interesting. Well, we learned something new today. And it's like, we can't just keep doing this. We're going to kill everyone. Like,
I know. Why are we messing with this? Like, especially in the 60s, it's like, bad idea back then, but we can at least go, we shouldn't. And why are we messing with it today? Especially now with all this green energy that's out there. Why are we even messing with this? It's insane to me. Like, yeah. And the whole article goes on about, all the, and of course they tried to cover it up and everything else. So that's the SL1 Idaho nuclear explosion cover up government secret. Oh boy, that one was
Turns out even the US has massive nuclear meltdowns.
Weird. It's even the US's military is just careless and dangerous with all of our lives.
But it doesn't take that long to recover from these. Anybody gone to tour that lovely town? What's it called, Fukushima, recently?
Yeah.
It's a nice town.
Yeah,
things going well there.
Mm-hmm. Yep, one of our allies. It's great, doing great.
It's now run entirely by stray dogs with 4 heads.
Oh.
Couple of cats with 2 sets of bodies are running things.
Just and somebody's ancestors have ridden from the dead and they're running the town, and some dolphins have grown legs, and that's the mayor.
The leg dolphins were already there.
Leg dolphins.
So we often do moments in history, but every once in a while, I think it's a good time to talk about a subject that is simply largely a government secret, largely covered up. Most people don't know about. And so I figured let's spend a few minutes today talking about factory farming.
Yay! Government secrets, factory farming. This one's for the kids.
Yeah, so there's a lot of fucking awful things about factory farming, but I'd be surprised, unless someone really studies them, I'd be surprised if people know all of the horrors that go on. And I'm not gonna everyone can assume that the animal abuse that goes on is fucking horrific, but that's not mostly what I'm going to talk about, because it's like, for people that need convincing on factory farming, they don't give a fuck about animal abuse. So I'm going to talk, I'll mention that a little bit, but I'm going to talk mainly about all of the reason it's insane otherwise. So something like 98% or well over 90% of the meat in America is factory farm produced. So when you see meat in America, almost entirely, it's not like a cow wandering around a field and the farmer came out and said, well, it's time to turn this cow into hamburgers. It's a mass production, horror show. Most of these animals are raised to, spend their entire lives in pens that aren't even big enough to turn around in. But one of the things that a lot of people don't realize is that factory farming, and this is in Project Censored's most censored of the year, factory farming very well could be many scientists believe it's where the next superbug will come from. It's where the next pandemic will originate.
Yes, awesome. Can we bet on it in Vegas?
yeah, they have Vegas odds on next pandemic coming from
DraftKings. Yeah, you use the DraftKings app.
Because all of these animals are pinned together on top of each other. They're all, to use the technical terminology, shitting and puking and pissing all over each other, which is normally something you have to pay for in Vegas. They have to be pumped full of antibiotics just to survive in those conditions, which means that when a disease, starts in one of these animals, it floods through the animals very quickly and mutates quickly and is antibiotic resistant because they're all pumped full of antibiotics. So basically, it's like if you had to create the perfect situation to create an antibiotic resistant superbug, it would be factory farming. So I'll take your sigh of excitement, Graham. You like hearing about this?
I'm so excited. I can't wait for another superbug. I think we're due for one. This pandemic's only been 2 years long. We need another one that's worse. And
Absolutely.
it's yeah, and I think this is why I've been a vegetarian for 20 years.
Also, could you imagine if this pandemic or the next pandemic isn't like, older people die in a hospital from not being able to breathe well with their lungs infected, and it's just like shit your organs out your ass? I feel like we'd have a very different reaction.
Yeah, well, that's the other thing too. I mean, people don't realize, that the next one could be like that, where it's not like this long drawn out thing that's all. I mean, COVID's awful, but like it could just be 10 times worse, where people are just like collapsing and dying, and that's it.
Yeah.
And it's too late. And it has a 40% fatality rate rather than like a 1 or 2% or whatever.
Right. So, in order to cover up what the horrors that go on in these factory farms, and some people know about these, there are in many states ag-gag laws that make it illegal to film and reveal what goes on inside these places, which is just hilarious because it's like, I mean, you can film most other things as long as you're not invading someone's privacy, like a person's privacy, not a fucking factory farm. So the idea that you can't like film these things and people spend years in jail for filming them is like just the quintessential government owned by corporations overreach. It is like, and the right, I love how the right wing's like, we hate government overreach. Oh, except all of the things that corporate America wants we're fine with. So as corporate America passes laws that say you can't film inside a factory farm, they're like, yeah, no problem. Who cares?
Yeah.
So they're really, really fine with it. And so a good example was, by the way,
ag-gag, by the way, I should just point out, ag-gag does sound like some sort of designer drug that people do at nightclubs.
I mean, yeah, it sounds pretty good. I've done a little ag-gag.
It's like a cross between like LSD and meth or something. I don't know what it does.
It's funny because I thought it was something when sex with Agnes went awry, but so a good organization to follow about this information is Direct Action Everywhere, and one of the main people with Direct Action Everywhere, Matt Johnson, he actually just did not go to prison. He was about to go to prison, possibly for years, for infiltrating and revealing what was going on in these hog farms. And one of the main things he revealed that I'd never heard of is many of these hog farms had found a new way of killing the hogs because, it just takes so long to like go up and put a bolt gun to their head or whatever the fuck, or cut their throats. It's just, we're talking millions upon millions of pigs. We just don't have the time. So what if we instead just close the door to whatever awful warehouse they're all, spent their lives in, and turn up the heat to about, 300 degrees till they all boil to death. That became the way they were doing it. They were literally just like boiling all like 1,000 hogs at a time to death. And so Matt Johnson went in and revealed this stuff, and then he was about to go to trial, and he was facing like 8 or 10 years or so, like years in prison for just revealing this. And then at the last minute, this just happened like a week ago, the last minute, they just dropped the charges. And the belief is the reason they dropped the charges because in order to do the trial, the factory farms and big ag would have to reveal these practices like or that Matt Johnson and his team would be able to reveal them. So rather than have it be in court, in the news, in the public record, they dropped the charges.
Do you feel like America is just a nation of a lot of serial killers? Just psychos. Just somebody thought that up and thought, let's do this and kill all these like just psycho, evil, crazy, like like America in itself is a psychosis. Like America is a psycho.
Well,
Like
what it is unfettered capitalism is uniquely suited to take all of the most horrific psychopaths and make them the leaders, the ones steering the ship.
right.
So,
That's
you know,
true.
you could have a lot of systems where you're going to have, you know, 1 out of every 100 people is a sociopath. But in our system, we're like, this guy's upper management, no doubt. He's got upper management written all over him.
This guy's cut from the right cloth. He's got the moxie to steer this company. Oh, you mean he's evil and he has no scruples and will just do whatever he can to turn a buck. He'll gas hogs and murder people and contaminate the planet just so he can bring the stock portfolio up. Yes, that's our man.
I like that 1,000-yard stare you got going, Jim. I think you're ready to run things.
You know, Jim, I saw you suffocate and kill that animal and you didn't even flinch. So you feel like you should be on our board of directors.
What I do is when I get a new executive in here, I like to just hand them a newborn kitten and say, snap its neck. And if they hesitate, they're just not right for our business.
They don't have what it takes. That's clearly, they just don't have what it takes. If they can't snap a kitten's neck, they don't have what it takes.
So another thing that a lot of people don't know is that factory farming is one of the biggest causes, or animal agriculture in general across the world is the biggest, or maybe the second biggest cause of climate change. If you add it all up, the amount of emissions coming from the animals, the amount of emissions to grow the feed that feeds all these animals, the amount that goes into shipping it all over the world, the ocean dead zones that factory farming causes, the death to all the insects due to all the chemicals and everything.
Yeah.
If you add it all up,
you add all that stuff. The water used to feed the animals, the water used to grow the grains. I mean, it's just like, factory farming is a nightmare. It's another reason for people to go vegan.
Yeah. And in North Carolina, I once did a story on Redacted or covered it, that in North Carolina, I think maybe it's Smithfield, maybe it's another one, but Smithfield's definitely one of the biggest, but I can't remember which one it is. But in North Carolina is one of the biggest hog producing states, where they make the bacon that you wrap around your ham and turkey sandwich that's then put inside of another turkey that's then baked inside of a meatloaf.
And deep fried and then wrapped in an American flag that then goes next to your ammo rounds.
Exactly. So they're one of the biggest hog producing states. And when you have that many animals, we're talking millions of animals, they shit an astronomical amount. And so they have these massive lagoons, which are, the common terminology is pig shit lagoons. That was also Mitch McConnell's nickname in high school. So
wasn't he on the basketball team or something? And a nice layup basket by Pig Shit Lagoon.
And number 43, Pig Shit Lagoon, takes it all the way to the rim.
A beautiful set shot by Pig Shit Lagoon.
And man, did he get laid. He laid a lot of pipe in college. All right, he did. With a name like that, ladies are like, I got to get to know this guy.
Mitch McConnell was just fucking laying the lumber to the ladies, just left or right. Mitch was just fucking plowing them. Attaboy, Mitch.
Oh my God. So many notches on his bed that the bed collapsed. Yeah.
He was just tagging. He was fucking cocktail waitresses 2 at a time. Yeah, that's Mitch. That's old Mitch McConnell. That's old pig shit.
Old Mitchy. Oh man. Oh God, did that guy get laid a lot? So people are like, you know what I love? I love how his forehead goes straight into his chest like that. That's just so sexy. So
any man without a chin is gonna clock a lot of tail. I mean, you just know that.
Absolutely. So they have these massive, and it's hard to find photos of them, but you can, if you Google it, you will find photos. People have illegally flown, drones with cameras over them to get photos. So Google pig shit lagoons and take a look at these things. So these are massive, way bigger than swimming pool, like Olympic swimming pool
Ugh.
sized lagoons of pig shit. But that's not enough because you have millions of animals shitting and pissing constantly. That is still not enough. So what's the next step? Well, one is to try and put it into the ground as fertilizer. But another they discovered at these massive farms, which can't even be called farms, they're just gigantic animal death zones. What they've discovered they could do is just take these giant air cannons basically and pump it all into the air so that it just gets dispersed into the air. And so there are whole towns in North Carolina that just smell like pig shit. And this shit wafts into the air and just like laminates nearby school children. And it just covers fucking everything. Like it is, there are whole cities in North Carolina where the state bird, the city bird is fecal matter. So
literally, this is where the term shitstorm comes from.
Yes, literal shitstorms.
I can remember this has happened numerous times, but most recently, Ron Placone and I were driving to Northern California in September to do a couple of shows. And there's a place in Central California. There's a couple, they're called Cowschwitz. And you see all these cow factory farms.
I don't think they call it Cowschwitz, but yeah.
No, there's not like a sign like come to the Cowschwitz gift shop. Like they don't.
Was it a tough choice between Cowschwitz and Dachau? Did they was there a meeting where they figured that out or?
My guess is yes. And we stopped, to get gas because, it's whatever, a 5-6 hour drive to Northern California from LA. And we got out and oh my God, the whole town smelled like manure. And that's what I thought of when you talk about they shoot this into the air. And I was just like, how do the people living here not know what this smells like? They all just I said, look they all just got dead faces. These dead faced people just walk through because the shit smell has just deadened their their nose and their soul and their taste of smell. And they're just like going in to get Subway or whatever.
Yeah, Subway sandwich that only has a bit of fecal matter spread on it.
Oh,
well, it's a few things. One is, yes, you live in a place, you stop smelling it. But beyond that, it has to do with economic force. They put these things in places where people are already poor and those people need the jobs. And they're, even though it causes disease, they're far more likely to get various ailments and things like that. They're likely to die much sooner or suffer from premature death, as they call it. And people are like, well, why would they put up with that? It's economic fucking force. All right.
Yeah.
They are, they're doing what they can to survive. And anyway, but so there were people in North Carolina who did not like this, apparently, who were against smelling like shit all day and smelling like pig shit all day. And so they were stopping it. They were passing maybe town rules against it or whatever. And the North Carolina legislature had a special meeting, called a special session to pass a bill making sure this stayed legal, making sure you could keep spraying pig shit into the air and laminating entire towns with it. So who do you think pulls the string of that legislature?
Let me guess. Oh, it's not these big corporate factory hog farms? Could they possibly?
Do you think they donated at all to these?
No, Lee, you're too cynical to suggest such a thing in the fine system of American democracy. It's not like you could go to opensecrets.org and see, oh, this pig shit Inc. just bought this fucking hillbilly Democrat or Republican and that stupid fucking whorehouse. Yeah, exactly.
And last little thing that I remember from this report we did for Redacted was that I don't know if it's still this way. Maybe it was sold off, but one of the biggest pig farms had been bought by a Chinese company. So China was covering Americans with pig shit, and that was fine by North Carolina legislature, reasoning, because it's just business as usual. It's just corporate. Listen, it's good business.
The one thing it's so clear, China has clearly figured out, the Americans, all they care about is money. We can do whatever we can do. They've come in and bought up property. I remember there was an episode of Bill Maher, whatever, during the recession 10 years ago, where they just showed like busloads of Chinese people going into Detroit, just buying up houses because the houses were selling for like 20 grand or whatever, because Detroit's collapse.
It's possible that's true, but it's also Bill Maher, so it also might have been made up.
Yeah, it could be. That's true. But I'll tell you this about Los Angeles, downtown Los Angeles, all of these high rises, and some of them aren't even finished. So back in November, I went to a Clippers game at the then Staples Center, now the crypto.com arena. And across the street are two high rises. And my buddy who lives in LA and like tracks all this stuff goes, those two buildings started construction like 2017, 2018, and it stopped before the pandemic because they just ran out of money and they're just sitting there. And it's all Chinese. Most of the buildings downtown and all the developments, they're just Chinese billionaires are hiding their money there or just keeping it there. And they know Americans will take the money. They'll take top dollar. That's why any foreign national can come in and buy up as much property as they want. And America will China will defeat us, not with an army. It will be buying us out, letting us just shit on ourselves because it's good money. Like that's our own greed will be the demise of this country, or is the demise that is currently happening that we're watching right now. And we're due for a giant economic collapse. It'll be because of this, just like it's like, that was the end of Rome. Everything was for sale. Right. So this is what we're doing.
Yeah. It's greed. It's putting sociopaths at the top. It's unfettered capitalism. It's totally out of control. And our entire lives and experience are being bought up by awful corporate shitbags. Like you mentioned, the Staples Center. I went to watch a game the other night here at the Squatty Potty My Pillow patent pending arena. And it was pretty good. It was a good game. But
Squatty Potty patent pending. That's fantastic.
So let's see. I got just a couple more things. One is how much these are subsidized. So the big ag is like crazy subsidized by the American government. So the idea, I love that you have all these rich people being like, the poor people should get off welfare or whatever. It's like, no one gets more welfare than the fucking big oil, big ag, big pharma, like big banks, just loads of welfare. Tesla, they're just built on government money. And so it's hilarious to watch them go like, poor people need to get off the welfare. These things are incredibly subsidized. Milk, and I don't have the numbers in front of me, but milk producers, they've had some slower years recently, like a few years ago, some various economic factors, etc. But they don't want to produce less milk. And these are, again, at factory farms where animals are treated like god awful. So they make the milk anyway, and then they just dump it out, like literally just like pour it into the ground or find ways to just get rid of it because they want to say that they produce the same amount of milk because then they'll get the same subsidy or more the following year. So no state, no farm, quote unquote, can say, hey, we didn't need to produce that much milk because we're not selling that much milk. So we just produced half of what we produced because then they're going to get less subsidies. So it's like a massively wasteful. People like to pretend capitalism is the best way to get shit to people. No, it's not. It's incredibly wasteful, incredibly fucking awful. It's just dumped into the ground. Meanwhile, you have people starving or going thirsty in other parts of the world, but we're just dumping out millions of gallons of milk. And that's not just milk. It goes for so many things where they'll just keep producing it and dumping it like ugly vegetables. We just throw out all the vegetables that don't look right because we're so vain that our veggies have to look perfect. You know, my apple needs to have a strong chin. Just because your apple looks like Mitch McConnell does not mean it tastes any different, is what I'm saying.
It is, and again, all their narratives of like people are poor in socialist countries, there's not enough food on the shelves. We don't have food on the shelves here because of supply chain issues, not to mention everything you just mentioned. We just waste food. We've got all these homeless people, like no one should go hungry. We're throwing milk and vegetables, everything literally down the drain in the garbage. And we can't get enough food, and the prices are through the roof because we need the prices to be through the roof so that these subsidies can keep going, which is American taxpayer dollars. Like it is our system. Anywhere in America, look to any industry, anything, it is broken. And it's capitalism is the reason why. Anything that is working, that is functioning correctly, it's because they somehow figured out how to get outside of this broken system. Like,
yeah, or it's you know, like people that are able to eat healthy, it's because they can pay far more than the people who aren't able to eat healthy. Like, you know, or it's a happy accident. Like, yes, you are going to have things that are going to go well, but they're like an accidental side effect. Like,
yeah, it wasn't by design.
Yeah, it wasn't by design. And then one final thing, and you'll love this as a veggie, you know, veggie dude, as a vegan, that Big Ag has begun suing. This has been ongoing probably for 10 years. Every vegetable product that uses words like milk, so like soy milk, or uses words like meat in their name, you know, like plant-based meat, or words like hamburger. And they've succeeded in some states. They haven't succeeded entirely. So you may still see something that says, you know, plant-based hamburger, but they claim in the courts like, oh, well, they don't actually have hamburger in their patties, so they can't use the word hamburger. And I'm like, motherfucker, it's called a hamburger. You don't have ham in it. Like, what kind of, you think it's a legit name? Your hot dog doesn't have dog in it. Don't tell me that your names only apply to you.
We should go back and sue them for that. This doesn't have dog in it. This doesn't have a ham in it.
Yeah.
Like, let's sue them.
I got this hot dog and it had 0 dog in it. I want my money back.
I wanted to eat a cooked dog link, and you lied to me.
And you lied to me. And so now you have like vegetable products having to like misspelling milk, or they're putting, you know, juice, soy juice or whatever, or rice dream cream, whatever the fuck it's called. You know, it's crazy ass names because they're not allowed to use these words, which it's like, asshole, milk means whatever you want it to mean. It can't. But they own the justice system. They own the politicians. They can get all this shit passed. So.
I love it. They're wrong. They're corrupt. They're crooked. And then they sue you.
Yeah. Yeah.
America's so ridiculous and dumb. It gets dumber every day. Like America, every day you wake up and you're so stupid. How do you do it?
I know. Imagine if it were the reverse and all the healthy foods were subsidized so that poor people could afford them. And all the foods that are atrocious and cause people to die at age 38 were more expensive. One study calculated the actual cost of a hamburger. If you were to actually account for externalities, all the harm to the environment, raising the cow, etc., the actual cost of a McDonald's hamburger should be $200. And this study was 8 years ago, so probably more now. So $200. So if you wanted to go get a McDonald's hamburger, it should be $200. But we're footing the bill by the destruction of the environment, by government subsidies for all of that other money so that you can pay $1 for that hamburger.
And America literally does not want to know how the sausage is made. Americans don't want to know.
Literally.
Well, glad I'm a vegetarian and vegan and do all that stuff because these people are evil. So this is a place where you can sort of fight back as an individual and just not buy these products, you know.
True. I do my best living within this system. I hate when people are like, you act like you don't like capitalism, but you own a laptop. And it's like,
well,
No, asshole, that's not capitalism, that's technology. It's like technology would have advanced whether you had capitalism or not, and you have to live within the system in which you are fighting against. Like if you were to
right.
decide, I don't think this system works very well, and then you just go and live in a hut in the woods alone, I don't
Great.
think anyone hears this message. I don't think no,
No. The-
those people are not well known.
I mean, we have to get this message out. We have to use laptops. I have an Apple. We have to use big tech companies I have to pay for the Wi-Fi. Like we have to I have a cell phone through one of the big companies. Like we just have to participate to be in society. Like you said, unless you're going to live out in the woods and live off the grid, which is great, but then no one else is hearing this message. So, I mean, there's like, I can't, I wish all the clothes I owned were made from like union labor, but that's almost impossible to do. So
I know. I used to do that. I used to put a lot of effort into finding like jeans that are made in America. Not that it's like USA, but it's like there are going to be slightly better labor conditions here than in a
right.
sweatshop in Thailand or whatever.
Mhm.
But like made in America, made union made. But eventually it got to the point where you like couldn't fucking find it. And even if
Right.
you could, they were lying anyway, where they like have the jeans shipped in from Bangladesh and
Yeah.
then they have prison labor sew the made in America tag on it. and that's why they're allowed to put the tag on it, because the tag was sewn in America.
Yeah. By prison labor. Yeah, it is a hard thing to do. Like it's you do. I always say just do your best, but you're gonna have to interact with massive corporations. You're gonna have to buy their products in some form or another. You're just gonna have to. I mean, like some of you are watching this on YouTube. That's owned by Google. I'm not mad at you for watching it on YouTube. That's just the system we're in. So it is what it is. So
Yeah, but you got to try and do your part. I only use the barter system for all my cocaine. So, yeah, you do your part.
I try to steal from billionaires whenever I can. That's that's how I do it. I just Robin Hood the billionaires. Well, I think that's the conclusion of Government Secrets episode 70. Big Egg. Pew, pew. Secret nuclear death cover up. Pew, pew, pew. And the Chase Rebellion, something we should all be doing today. Folks, support what I do. Go to grahamelwood.com, sign up for my newsletter, and follow me on all my social media, which is all at grahamelwood.com. I'm hopefully going to be doing some more tour dates in the next couple months as things hopefully start to open up a little bit. Support this show, libirapay.com/government secrets. There's you can support the show for as little as $1 a month, and it helps keep it going. So I think there's only 11 people subscribing or something like that. So support it.
Wow,
It helps
guys,
us.
you've really let me down. All the work we put into this, I thought there were more people that gave a shit, but clearly I was wrong.
Clearly nope, nobody cares.
Well, I think what we have to do, it's funny because people love those of us who do very little or almost nothing behind a paywall. And yet, if you ask them to support that without a paywall, then they're like, yeah, no. But we should probably put a special content thing up there for those who become members. And then we might have some more people join us.
Nope. They just need to...
Actually, Graham, if you could just do 3 hours on your own, I can't make it, but if you could just put that up there as like a special for members only, that'd be great.
Yeah, I'll get right on that, man. Right after I shoot pig feces into the air to laminate some local town, I'll get right on that because I got time. You got time. I got time.
Yeah.
I got nothing but time when you
run.
No,
I just said I don't have time, but I think you're gonna enjoy it.
I love when you just say it like it's a foregone conclusion. When you do this, Graham, you're gonna love it. So trust me on that. Yeah, go to liberapay.com/government secrets, folks. And Lee, where can people follow all your wild musings?
LeeCamp.com and radindiemedia.com. If you haven't yet signed up for the free, yes, it's free email list, go to radindiemedia.com. And at the bottom there on the page, you can sign up for the free email, which will give you the antidote to corporate media news feed every day.
Yeah, and of course, go to rockfin.com, and if you sign up for the premiere, you get all the premiere. Is that it?
I don't know. Special membership.
Special membership.
Gold card. I think it's gold card. Sign up for the gold card.
Like Telly Savalas thing. Hey, so you come here. Sign up for whatever the paid thing at Rock
VIP velvet robe secret club card.
Sign up for all of that, and you get everybody's premium content on rockfin.com for one price. It's a great deal, everybody. And you get the velvet rope and the whatever else, the bottle service, whatever the fuck else you need to feel special.
Velvet rope was what they called Mitch McConnell in high school.
Here comes the velvet rope. Zip, boom, Mitchy Mitch.
All right, man. Thanks a lot.
All right, buddy. Good to see you.
Later.
Bye.